everybody, it's Alyce-Kay Reckelhaus from the Widow Reckelhaus and the Threshold of Hineni. And today we're going to work on our Modern Millinery Journal. And the reason it's called Modern Millinery is not because it has anything to do with millinery, but because that's the name of the paper pad that we're using. Okay, so today we're going to do what I call a ladder pocket. It has 4 different pockets in it, and actually you could make it into even more if you wanted to, but we're just going to do 4 today. It's really simple. You're gonna love this. Okay, so first we're going to look for some paper. We want to find 2 papers that we like and that coordinate really well. We haven't used this one, so I think we're going to use this, and then let's find something else that goes well with it. I know that we have this elsewhere, but we could use it. We haven't used this. This is really pretty. Okay, so we're going to use these 2. That was easy. I didn't look at it ahead of time even, so I'm surprised I did it so quickly. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is what we do on each page when we take it out. Do you remember? We want to cut off the part that has the dotted line here. You can't really see it on this one, but this one you can see it. Okay, because it's a 12 by 12 pad, and then they've added that to it. So it's not going to be an exact square if we don't take it off. And it's kind of ugly. We don't really want to have that dotted line on there. So we're going to cut as close to being right on the dotted line as we can. Okay, so I'm laying it up. I'm pushing it against, you probably can't see the bottom here when I'm pushing it against, but I'm pushing it against that. Or I could, let's push it up against the top actually, because you can see that. I've got the 2 pages, they're exactly even, so it should cut them both exactly the same. And I'm making sure that my dotted line is lined up to the cutting slot here on both ends. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead, since I'm cutting 2 papers at once, I'm going to run it through a couple times just to make sure, but it feels like it did it on the first try. Okay, and then I'm going to, oh, it's because my sewing machine was trapping it. I'm going to tear these 2 things in half so I can put them into my Franken paper booklet. I mean, not booklet, my little basket. All right, I'm already having problems talking. All right, so what we're going to do here now, oh, I should have kept out my thing. Okay, so I'm going to look at my page. I already pretty much know how wide I can make it, but I want to show you how to figure it out. So if I've got one page, and I'm just pulling out the middle page because that's just the easiest one to work with, even though that's not where we're going to put them. All these pages are the same size. So the available space that I have to work with is 6 inches. I want to make sure that I have at least 1 inch on each side. And that's probably a pretty good size because that'll give me a 4-inch wide pocket. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut 2 strips that are 4 inches wide each. So we can cut both of those at the same time. I'm going to turn it over just so that you have different eye candy this time. And this is like so easy, you guys. Okay, so why is this getting stuck today? That's weird. Okay, so I'm going to put this through. I'm going to bring it to 4 inches because I want it to be 4 inches wide. So can you see up here at the top where it says 4 inches? I'm pushing the paper up against this part right here so that it's going to cut straight. So it's going to be 4 inches on both ends. It's going to be 4 inches all the way. Okay, and then I'm going to cut both of those at 4 inches. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to put these papers aside because I don't need those. And we'll use those for something else. Okay, and then I've got these 2 things. Now, what is my measurement for how tall these can be? So let's look at that. So this is 9 inches tall, right? Yeah, 9. I was like, what, 10? Okay, so it's 9 inches tall. So the tallest I would want the pocket to be would be like 7 inches. Okay, so that it has like a little bit of a space down here, and that would bring it all the way up to the top. I think though that I'm just going to make it 6 inches, so that would give me a space at the bottom, and then it'll come up to here at the top of the pocket because the tags and stuff that we put in it will stick up higher. So I'm going to cut one of these to, let's see, a little bit more than 7 inches. Let's do it for 9 inches. We can always trim it smaller if we want. Okay, so 9 inches. Open our little guy here. 9 inches. You can use scissors, just mark it with a pencil or something if you need to measure it and mark it. Okay, so this one's going to be 9 inches. And then I'm going to just fold this up a little bit so that I have an idea of, so I can figure out how big I want my other ones. Okay, so then this one, I've got this folded 2 1/4 inches. Okay, and I still have 4 5/8 inches. All right, so we've got 4 5/8 inches is what we've got to divide it between. And this was 2 1/4. 2 1/4. So if we did, oh yeah, that's like, okay, so we want to make the other pockets a little bit shorter, but we don't want, we want to have some space spread out here. So we're going to have 2 pockets in this space. We want to have about 2 inches at the top. So that leaves us with 3 inches. So 1.5 inches bigger each. 1.5 inches bigger each. So one is going to be, we've already got 2 1/4 here, and then we're going to have 3 3/4. See, I added 1.5 plus 2 1/4. Okay, and then what's 1.5 more to that is going to be 4 5 1/4. And we'll see how good my math is. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to add the 3 3/4 to the 5 1/4. So that makes 9. So we're going to cut this one to 9 inches as well. Isn't that funny? It ended up being the same. Okay, so we're going to cut 9 inches for this one. Okay, there we go, 9 inches. Okay, so now I think that we're done with this. So we can set that aside. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this in here. My first pocket was 2 1/4, that's this one right here. And then I want 3 3/4. So let's just go ahead and measure right here. 3 3/4 comes to right here. Right there. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and fold that to 3 3/4. Now I could put it on my scoreboard and fold it there if I wanted to. Okay, like I showed you yesterday when we were folding things in the other pocket. All right, and then we're going to just stick this in here like this. Isn't that cute? Okay, so now we have our basic thing here. We've got, and we could turn it, actually I think it'd be better if it was turned the other way. Let's try this and see how that looks. Oh yeah, I think that's a lot better. Okay, we could even see if we like it better turned this way. Just try out different things and see how you like it. Yeah, actually I do like that. Okay, so now if I was doing this in a grungy book, I would ink all my edges, but we're not doing it in a grungy book, so we don't need to ink the edges. I have a new corner cutter, so I'm going to open that up here. And you can see how this works. Okay, so this has different rounded corners, and so you can choose which one you like best. We're just going to use this one here, the R4mm one. Okay, and we're going to cut all of our corners. So there's 4 corners on each sheet of paper. It kind of sticks in there, and once you get it in there snugly, then you know that you've got it in the right place. And then you just push down. Wait, do I have it in snugly? Okay, and then you just push down, and it didn't cut. Let's figure out what's going on here. I just opened this. I've never had one of these before, so okay, I've got it in there snugly. There, I felt that cut. See how it rounded the corner? And there's some that are more round. This one is like the least round. Okay, let's try, I'm going to try it on the one that's more rounded. Let's do that one. Oh yeah, I like that better. Okay, so we're going to use this 10mm round corner. Okay, yep, like that a lot better. Okay, and then this, and then There. Okay, so actually if I was making this in a grungy journal, I would probably wait until I've done the corners before I ink it. But knowing me, I would probably ink it first, and then I'd have to go back and re-ink the corners after cutting them. I don't do a good job of thinking ahead, you guys. All right, so we're doing all 4 corners on this. There we go. So we've got nice rounded corners now, which I really, really like. I really appreciate rounded corners. I like this because look, this one looks really pink, and then this is green. This looks like more of the teal, and then this has the flowers that are with a white background. So it really is a nice progression, and they're all different. Okay, so once we've got that in place, we've got it in place. So we can do 2 things. We can either glue these together, or we can sew them together. And I'm going to sew just because that's what I like, but let me show where you would glue. So you would glue this part here, just glue on the back of this, glue it here and here, and then you're going to stick it up there and just, you know, put your edges down really well. Okay, and then you're going to glue here and here and close that up, jump, and then smooth out your edges, and then you're going to glue here and here, and you've got it done. You've got your pockets. Okay, this is going to be a little more complicated when it's sewn, so I'm going to show you how to sew it. Okay, so I want it to be sewn all the way around, so I've got to sew these 2 tops, these 3 tops first. Okay, and I'm just going to sew from the curve and around. Okay, so let me get it onto zigzag, and I'm going to start a little bit on this edge, so it's going to overlap a bit, but it just makes it a lot easier. And kind of curving around, I'm going kind of slow, and then over the top. Now I don't want to do the very, very top of the whole pocket. Okay, because we'll do that when we go around the edges. All right, so we've got that one. Okay, you can see how that's done. And then let's do these 2 tops. So we've got this. It's a lot easier to glue this. Okay, so I'm just showing you sewing in case you want to sew it, and that's probably, unless you sew a lot, sewing it is probably more for the advanced people. Okay, and then we're going to do this top right here. Now I don't have to go all the way down here because we're going to go all the way around the whole thing when we put it all together. Alright, so we've got, slow it down while I turn the corner. And again, you know, like always, you can choose whatever thread you want. I'm using a real contrasting thread on this particular journal, but a lot of times I use a thread that blends in more. Okay, then we're going to put this all back together like this. Okay, and then I'm going to start at the bottom because that will hold the whole thing together and it makes paper clips unnecessary. Okay, so I'm going to start down here, like in the, not quite the corner, but over on the side. I don't like to have my threads that are hanging right in the middle. To me, that looks really funny. I don't like things to be exactly symmetric. I like them to be asymmetrical. Okay. So now I'm going up. I'm overlapping a little bit of the sides that we sewed, but mostly it's not. And so I've sewn those pockets in place. I'm going around the top. I'm not really sure how much of the actual sewing you can see, so I'll show you after I'm done what I just did. Sorry, I've got it going kind of slow because of the curves and because I've got so many layers. I need to clean my sewing machine. It's really noisy because it needs cleaning. With these computerized sewing machines, you don't oil them, by the way. That will ruin them. Okay, so here we go. So what I did was I started down here. I went all the way around. Okay, so now what we have, let me get some scraps here. We've got, well, when we glue it, we can have a pocket right there. We've got a pocket here, we've got a pocket here, and we've got a pocket here. So when we glue it, we can either leave it so it's got this top pocket, or we can leave the side unglued so that we have a side pocket. And I really like that too. It's going to be hard to decide which way I'm doing it. Okay, so that's it, you guys. It's really, really easy. I'm not going to install it yet because I don't know where I want to put it. I want to make a bunch of the other things first, and then we can decide where we're putting each thing. All right, so that was easy, right? You can make a bunch of these. In fact, I'll make at least one more, and because I like to kind of have two of everything. Oh, another thing that you could do before you sew it all together, which I didn't think of, is you could make a little thumb hole right here on each of them too, and that would just be a nice touch. It's a little bit harder. Okay, so if you're doing the thumb hole, it's a little bit harder to sew because you're going to have to go around that curve, okay, on each one of them. So you just decide what works best for you. This, I think, is totally fine, and it's really pretty, and it's very, very simple. And let's just look at what it looks like on one page. We're just going to like flip to any page. So that's what it would look like on a pink page, or if we had a black page that we want to put it on, or a beige page. I mean, it just looks different wherever you put it. Isn't that cool? I like it there. That's nice. Okay, so I'm going to make another one too. I'm going to do that off camera. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.